The agenda is approval of the agenda, so I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda as circulated, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gilroy, seconded by Councillor Gould. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minded nay. The motion is carried. Thank you. 2.2 is approval of the minutes. So the recommended motion is the minutes of the November 22nd, 2023 regular council meeting be approved. If someone would like to make that motion, please. Moved by Councillor Joseph, second by Councillor Porter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minded nay. The motion is carried. Thank you. And the second one is the minutes of the November 29th, 2023 special council meeting be approved as presented. Motion, please. Moved by Councillor Gould, second by Councillor O'Telling. All those in favor say aye. Minded nay. Thank you. Motion is carried. Brings us down to 2.3, Business Rising. Mr. Harrett's going to lead us through the Business Rising.
Thank you, Your Worship. Business arising from the minutes is at pages 12 to 15 of Council's information package. The first couple of pages, 12 and 13, relate to the minutes of, or pardon me, relate to the meetings of November 22nd, 29th. I'm happy to report that all items are complete. Although we have a couple that are marked ongoing, those can be marked complete. So to list them: application for Parsonsville water line replacement through the Municipal Capital Growth Program, advising NSCC of our participation in a geothermal energy feasibility study, the acceptance of the 22-23 audited financial statements, the scheduling of a public hearing with respect to rezoning, amendments to proceedings of council policy, amendments to the tax reduction exemption policy, the adoption and communication of the 4-day work week, the beginning the administration of the second reading for the truck route bylaw, which is on today's agenda, advertising public hearing for the development agreement for elemental energy, and that's complete. Some tidy up on the appointment of building officials for the county. Council committee listing and advising Sunset Community Incorporated of council's participation in a housing project that is ongoing with that organization. And all of those items, Your Worship, are complete. Stop there and ask if there are any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from Mr. Harrett regards to his report? Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Carry on, please.
The second, thank you, Your Worship. The second batch of these items is at page 14 and 15 in council's package, and it's the ongoing action list. And these are the items that carry on, take a little bit more time to complete for various reasons. RFP for surplus sale of land on Junction Road is the posting of that RFP is complete. I think we've got some responses we bring to a council meeting in the very near future. Initiating discussions with the town of Amherst with regard to extended producer responsibility and the administration of the collection of recyclables, and we have begun that conversation. The Mattinson Hanford Cemetery designation is heritage status. That is complete, and we've actually in the process of purchasing a plaque to commemorate that. Public hearing for the deregistration of 40 Chapel Street, which is the Catholic Church in Spring Hill. We've advertised, and in fact, we're holding a public hearing at this afternoon's meeting with respect to that. Scheduling a public hearing on a rezoning just outside of Oxford in Little River. That will happen in January. CJSMA dissolution is in progress. Hopefully have that done by the end of the fiscal year. That is the plan. Technical equipment for hybrid meetings. This one's been on our agenda for quite a while. Happy to report that the pieces and the parts and the technical equipment has finally been procured on back order for many months, and we're scheduled to have that installation happen in this room the first 3 or 4 days of January. So hopefully for our first meeting in January, we'll be up to your level of technical expertise, Your Worship. That's our plan. I'll pause there for effect. The adoption.
Questions?
The public signage highway bylaw, public highway signage bylaw has been around for a long time, and I expect that Councillor Gould will question me after we're done. I'll give him the answer. Sale of surplus properties, 22 Drummond. The RFP has been posted, and I think we've got some responses. And continue to be working on the title with a couple of properties for a parcel that acts like two properties on Clark Street in Spring Hill. Your worship, I'm happy to answer questions from Councillor Gould and the rest of council.
Councillor Gould.
Thank you, your worship. I actually haven't mentioned this for a few months because Mr. Boone has been giving me some good updates as to what's going on, but I will talk about the signage bylaw. There's got to be something we can do. This has been over a year that we've been waiting for a response from the province. I mean, if I've got to go to my mayor and get him to pull some strings, I'll have to go that route.
Your worship,
Please.
we are actively pulling those strings.
Okay.
I have attempted to communicate with senior officials in the Department of Transportation and Public Works, folks that I know well, actually, and haven't had a response, and I'll, continue to do that. These are at the highest level. We've also talked at the political level, so we're hopeful that we're at the end of this, but I would have thought by now we would have it resolved. I'm hopeful that early in the new year we will.
Thank you. That's the last time I'll bring it up this year.
Thank you, Councillor Gould. Any other questions for Mr. Hare? Seeing none. Thank you. Brings us down. Thank you, Mr. Hare. That brings down to 2.4 public hearings. So 2.41 on the agenda is deregistration of 40 Chapel Street, Spring Hill as a municipal heritage property. Mr. Boone's going to speak to this. So while he comes forward, just want to say, first of all, Mr. Boone, welcome. Glad to see you back after your leave from the municipality for the last few weeks. Great to see you back, and I hope you're feeling well.
Thank you, sir.
Just want to advise that a public hearing is being held today in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Government Act, and that the purpose of the public hearing is to provide the public with the opportunity to express their views on certain proposals prior to council making a final decision on the issue. So I'll now call the public hearing to order. Staff will now provide a presentation in regards to this request before council today. Mr. Boone, please.
Thank you, your worship. Good afternoon, members of council, the public, staff. This application was brought forward to council back in October. And in order to meet the requirements of the Heritage Property Act, it required a 30-day advance notice of a public hearing. So that's why it's taken us some time to get to this day and to hold a public hearing. The application that was brought forward previously, your worship, was from All Saints Parish. So just to make clarity, All Saints Parish is the overriding body for the churches, the Catholic churches in Cumberland County now. But clearly the ad was advertised for 40 Chapel Street, which is the former St. John the Baptist Catholic Church. So I just wanted to make sure that clarity was there. We double checked the ads and made sure that when they were advertised, it was current to the address and the PID. So that was all well documented in the ads. Under the Heritage Act, your worship, in the package that was originally presented to council, it's section 16.1 talks about deregistration. There's a process that is in place, which includes a public hearing today. Staff's recommendation previously was to hold the public hearing, and looking at what was in the original package and in your packages now, your worship, the church has decommissioned as an operating entity. So what we have left is a physical building. The church has been working with a number of potential buyers, one in particular. And in order for that project to potentially move forward, the registration as a heritage property puts some restrictions on development. So therefore, the main purpose of the church's application was to remove the heritage designation. One thing you would see in the package, your worship, I think, which is worth noting, when the church was originally registered back in the early 90s, it was based on the opportunity for some funding for the church to do some work on the church and kind of improve and work around its heritage status. Unfortunately, those funds didn't materialize. So it's been sitting with that status for quite a number of years. But in fairness to the application, it's at a point now where the church wants to move the property forward. There's opportunities for redevelopment and potentially things around even things like affordable housing. So the main points I would just bring council and your worship members to was section 8 of the original letter from the diocese. Was on a couple of things. One is obviously the congregation is smaller. They now utilize the glebe and a small chapel in the basement of that of the glebe house, which is being maintained and kept by the church. So they're looking at moving the properties, which includes the church itself, but there's also the vacant parking lot across the street. But in order to do that, they want to bring it forward as a package, which makes the most sense. The owner is not in a position to put more funds into the church, and repairing and maintaining is obviously difficult for the congregation and the parish. So bringing forward the chance to consideration by council in this public hearing to hear any input from the public was to move forward for the deregistration. The only thing I'll mention is that Gail Murphy's here. She's a representative for the parish. She sits on their finance committee and is part of their church life committee as well. So if there's any particular questions, Gail was kind enough to be here, and she's been the direct contact with the diocese who formally owns the property. So unless there's particular questions, your worship.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Boone, for that. So have we received any written submissions in regards to this project?
No, your worship. I did confirm with the clerk again today. We had talked about it probably about a week ago and confirmed, and I did speak with our planner because sometimes they'll get submissions or inquiries. So I spoke with our planner twice again, just actually an hour before the meeting. So the answer to your question is no written or oral or phone call submissions, sir.
Thank you, sir. So even though Gail's here present and we're willing to answer questions, still have to ask if there's anybody from the public that want to make comment in regards to this issue. Seeing none, are there any additional comments from the applicant themselves? And again, you don't have to, Gail, it's just a process for us to follow. So any other comments you want to make in regards to the application, certainly can. No? Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council to Mr. Boone? Seeing none, thank you, sir. I'll now close the public hearing, and thank you, Mr. Boone, for your work on this. Really appreciate it. Thank you. So Gail, Mr. Boone will explain to you the process after today. That's great. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Boone. That brings us down to number 5 on our agenda, organizational policy bylaw items. So second reading, 5.1, second reading truck route bylaw, Mr. Walkrest.
So at the previous public council meeting, council gave first reading to a proposed truck route bylaw that would route truck traffic in the community of Spring Hill away from the main street and commercial downtown core and along Lisgar Street and then out Main. It's not meant to limit any trucks that may have business to make deliveries or offer service or work within the community of Spring Hill. It's meant to direct through traffic primarily. It does set penalties for violating the bylaw. Okay.
Yep.
The motion there for a second reading is in council's package, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them for you.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve second reading of the truck route bylaw. Someone like to make the motion, please. Moved by Councillor Joseph, seconded by Councillor Gould. Any questions or comments for Mr. Walkrest? Good. Councillor Joseph, please.
Thank you, worship. The only question I have is just, and it's probably self-explanatory. So if a resident on Junction Road needs work done that requires a tandem load of gravel or whatever up that road, they're still permitted to be there due to their business. Am I correct?
Mr. Walkrest?
Yes, if trucks can leave the route, the truck route to go offer service or deliver gravel or make a local delivery or get a repair done, or if the owner of the truck happens to live in the community, the business is off the truck route, they can proceed from the truck route to that and do any work or deliveries in the community at the same time. So they don't have to drive back the truck route every single time if it's more direct to go to the next delivery or service.
Thank you, worship.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Walkrest? Seeing none, one question, Mr. Walkrest, just so for clarity, I get more than anything, had called by a contractor to ask this question. So if a truck is coming from the Leamington area, they're no longer allowed to go up Main Street if they're going to the Valley Road, for example. They'd have to go around the North Street. They would have to avoid Main Street if they're just passing through.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Great. Thank you. No other questions. Call for the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded nay. Motion is carried. Thank you, sir. 5.2, water leak adjustment policy. Amy Hertel, Director of Finance, please. Yeah. So,
Thank you, Your Worship. So this policy is coming forward to council to put a measure in place for residents that have had some occasionally unexpected increases on their utility bill due to unknown leaks on the property. So we're bringing forward this proposed policy. It is a one-time leak adjustment policy for property owners that are connected to the Cumberland water utility. We spoke to it at the cow meeting, so I will take questions if there are any.
Thank you, Amy. So the recommended motion is that council approve the water leak adjustment policy. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councillor Joseph, second by Councillor O'Telling. Questions or comments for Ms. Hertel? Trying to watch online there as well, folks. If anybody raised their hand or not, seeing Deputy Mayor Gilroy, please.
The one time, give back on that, is that annually or is it while you own the property?
Your Worship?
Just to be clear, like.
Hertel, please.
Yeah, it would be one time for the lifetime of that property unless it changes hands, of
Yeah.
course.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Gilroy. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank
Amy.
you.
5.3, bylaw to establish and regulate the fire departments of the Municipality of Cumberland. Mr. Cole, Director of Protective Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. The motion before council is that council approve first reading of the draft bylaw to establish and regulate the fire service in Cumberland County or in the municipality of Cumberland County. About a year and a half ago, the Fire Service Review made hundreds of recommendations to improve fire service delivery, both in efficiency and quality of service. As a result of that, an ad hoc committee was established, and that committee met 9 times over the last 10 months or so to review and come up with draft bylaws that have the intended purpose of improving the fire service, streamlining the efficiency of the fire service and making it easier for fire departments to operate as volunteer fire departments. The bylaws are in the package and have been reviewed at the Committee of the Whole. I'm happy to go through them again, Your Worship, if necessary, but I think everyone's read them, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve first reading of the bylaw to establish and regulate fire departments in the municipality of the County of Cumberland. Someone like to make that motion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gilroy, second by Councillor Gould. Questions or comments for Mr. Cole? Just before we vote on that, Mr. Cole, on behalf of council, thanks for all your work in this. It's been a long road, and I know that you brought together the fire service and the committee, and obviously met with the fire service outside of the committee. Had response, and you've adjusted the bylaws to accommodate all that you've heard. I believe from what you've heard from the fire service. So just want to say thank behalf of council. Thanks for bringing us this point. It's been a long way, but thank you very much.
You're welcome, Your Worship. And yes, to your point, there have been meetings outside the committee with fire chiefs, and the recommendations of the fire chief meetings were incorporated in this most recent draft.
Good, sir. Thank you. Nothing further. Call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Or raise your hand. Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That brings us down to business issues. Number 6.1, request to waive ice rental fees. Mr. Harrod, I believe you're going to speak to this.
Thank you, Worship. I am pinch hitting for Deputy CEO McCracken, who is off on vacation today. This item was reviewed at the Committee of the Whole meeting a week ago, and council agreed to forward it to this meeting for final decision. It is a request to approve the waiver of ice rental fees for the U13 AAA Truro Bearcats Provincial Tournament. at the Dr. Carson Marion Murray Community Center in Spring Hill. Your worship.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve the request to waive ice rental fees for the under 13 AAA Truro Bearcat Provincial Tournament bid, which I understand has been awarded. Yeah, Council McCormick, you making that motion? Yes, seconded by Councilor Redmond. Seconded that by Councilor Redmond. Thank you. Questions or comments regards to this agenda item? Councilor Gould.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a comment, just wanted to, for anyone who's maybe watching this, online, we do have, 7 players and a coach from Cumberland County that participate with this team, and it's, even though it's a Truro Bearcat team, we have a good participating crew in that. So I just want to make note of that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Councilor. We appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. 6.2 funding request, Spring Hill Ground Search and Rescue, Mr. Harrod.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it would be a shame, given that it's Christmas season, that no one would acknowledge Councilor Redmond's festive hat. I just wanted to acknowledge that before I continued. This item is a request from Spring Hill Ground Search and Rescue, and was reviewed at last week's Committee of the Whole meeting. And it's a recommendation to allocate $10,000 from the operating reserve for the Spring Hill Ground Search and Rescue to assist with the expansion of their vehicle fleet. Your worship.
Thank you. So the recommended motion is that council approve the allocation of $10,000 from operating reserves for the Spring Hill Ground Search and Rescue to assist with the expansion of their vehicle fleet. Council McCormick, you making that motion?
Yes.
Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Joseph. Questions or comments in regards to that agenda item? Sorry, because there's a delay in there's a delay coming. Any questions or comments regarding this agenda item? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Seeing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much. That brings us down to information items, councilor recognition. So I'll set under number 7. So 7.11 is myself. So I want to take the opportunity to recognize the volunteers from the River Hibbert and Joggins area, including Mr. Tony Eaton's students in the Options and Opportunities program, for organizing and holding a free community dinner, which served a hot turkey meal to just under 150 people in the community. And as well, that class is also took part in raising funds to allow elementary students to purchase items and gifts for their parents, which is a tremendous opportunity. Plus, they're involved in the community in a lot of other ways. So just a great opportunity here this time of year to thank Mr. Eaton and his class for all they're doing. And I had the opportunity to go down there on a Sunday morning when they were preparing the meal, and for me, they didn't need me. It was well organized. The kids actually took over this program, which was tremendous to see. Usually see adults, but in this case, I mean, there was lots of volunteers from the River Hibbert Development Association took part as well, so they deserve a lot of credit. But the students themselves took real ownership in this. It was great to see. So congratulations to Mr. Eaton and the students and the community for this great endeavor. 7.1.2, Councillor Gould, District 1.
Thank you, Your Worship. Before I get started, I'd just like to thank recognize all the organizers, and workers and volunteers across the county for the food banks and all the luncheons and dinners that are being provided around. It's just great, and it is certainly needed more and more all the time. But tonight I'd like to make special mention of the Amherst Christmas dinner. It's being held at the Lions Den on Christmas Day from 2 to 4. There's an eat-in, as well as they do some deliveries that are pre-arranged or pre-set up. The Lions Den, they donate and decorate the hall. There's a group of 5 committee members that help really work on it and organize all year long, or certainly for months ahead. And I'm just going to mention them. One is Lacey Fisher, Nicole Schrader, Ray Burke, Dwayne Ripley, and David Enman. Them 5 coordinate this event. It takes a lot of hours of work, but there's also 40 plus volunteers that work beforehand as well as that day, delivering or working in the lion's den to get the meal ready and served. So it's just last year they had over 500 meals cooked, and they only had a couple left. So, and they expected to be busier this year. And that's a big undertaking. And it's certainly something that sometimes we take for granted. So thank you to those people, and again, to all the volunteers that we have around the county.
Thank you, Counselor Gould. You're absolutely right. Great effort for sure. 7.1.3, Counselor Hoteling, District 3.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to recognize all the organizations, businesses, and individuals that graciously donated to the Pugwash Open Hamper Food Bank and to all food banks across the county. Everyone is in need this season, and there has been a lot of really wonderful donations out there, and I just want to acknowledge those. I'd also like to thank just everyone, friends, neighbors, and strangers who think to bring a plate of snacks, treats, cookies to their neighbors and friends, because every little bit makes a community stronger and thrive, and brings people together. So it's really great to see that happen all around. Even at the council table, we've got a plate of cookies here. So one more thank you is for the Harbor Fest organization in Pugwash, who's putting on a Christmas dinner at the Legion on Christmas Day. Several volunteers coming to help with that, and it'll be our second annual Christmas community dinner from 12 to 2. So if you're in Pugwash, please stop by for some turkey. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Hoteling. Absolutely. A lot of great effort throughout the municipality in all corners. So thank you very much. 7.1.4, Counselor Joseph.
Thank you, Worship. Before I begin, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Season greetings to everybody out there, not just including the municipality. I'd like to recognize Mike Smith of Collingwood, and those who don't know him, he's a smiling face at the Scotiabank in Oxford. And Mike was a team manager years and years and years ago for the Acadia University Axemen hockey team from 1989 to 1993. Their first national championship for Acadia was in 1993, and Mike was part of that group, and they were recently inducted to the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. So a big congratulations. Point to note, there was also another member that lives in Cumberland County on that championship team, which is Mr. Mark McFarlane, but I don't want to steal the thunder from the Amherst Town Council, so I'll just leave it at that. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. 7.1.5, Counselor Goodwin, District 8.
Certainly. Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to recognize the recent event that happened in Parsboro, the Christmas Children's Party, organized by the Legion Branch 45, the Parsboro Lions Club, and the Parsboro Volunteer Fire Department this past Sunday. Special thanks and tip of the hat to Man Forbes, who spearheaded the organization. And we have to also mention the community of volunteers, which it was the entire community that came out for that. Businesses and residents also donated funds and time to this event. And I do have one more. I received an email from a constituent who is a part-time resident in Fox River, and she resides at the beach house on Fox Point to me, but it's Hatfield Road actually. She was stuck in the snow on her way out of Hatfield Road. And after the snowfall on, I think it was week before last, a plowman came upon her stuck in the snow and helped her get back to her car. And she would like to make special recognition of Tim McAloney, who actually resides in Councillor Porter's district. But he just made her day when he helped her plow out her car, and he also shoveled her out to make sure that she was safe and sound and was able to move along about her day. Thank you, Tim, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Counselor Goodwin. So a lot of great efforts throughout the season in municipalities. So we're hearing about a few of those today, but there's lots more, I'm sure. So just before we move to adjournment, I just want to say on behalf of myself and council to the councillors, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, to especially the staff who work so hard throughout the year. We don't get an opportunity often enough to say thanks, but all your great workers really appreciate it. And obviously all those folks who are watching, viewing other ways, Zoom or whatever, Merry Christmas on behalf of the council and staff, and all the best in 2024. So I'd ask for motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gilroy. We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.
Merry Christmas, everyone.